your number one source for high school sports. You're watching the Scenic Sports Network.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Providence Christian Football on the Scenic Cable Sports Network. I'm Mike Bridges, calling the game for you tonight. After a week off, Providence comes into the game at 1-3. Elba from 2A coming in at 4-2, a big matchup. Elba having an excellent offense, having an excellent season so far. They won the toss, elected to receive, so Providence will be kicking off for us tonight. And Providence, Davis Bolton will be kicking off.
Teeing it up at his own 40-yard line for the Eagles, number 13.
Providence has had a little bit of a rough season so far at 1-3. The defense hasn't played bad in most of the games, just overwhelmed after a while.
Back deep to receive.
Bolton's coming up. He's going to kick it off from the 40, and then there's a stoppage of play here just for a second, and possibly the play clock wasn't running. It's running now, so not a good omen when before the opening kickoff is kicked off, we already have a stoppage in the play. But Bolton is going to kick off to Elba, and he does a little squib kick, and it is covered up by Elba, and you'll see Providence do that from time to time, a little squib kick. Sometimes they'll do the onside kick. Sometimes they'll do little pop-up kicks. This one, just to see if Elba's waiting for it, and then if they can handle the football there. And Patrick Witshehe, number 68, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, he was able to cover it up. Sometimes those guys don't always get a chance to handle the ball, so you want to see what can happen. So Elba starts off at the 49-yard line, and it's just a little swing pass right off the bat, and right there is Harrison Mims to stop the runner, but he's able to fall forward for about 3 yards there. And Braden Johnson, number 12, is the quarterback for Elba. He can not only pass it, he can also run it, and he comes in at 6 foot, 225 pounds. Looked like he got that out to Christyle Caldwell, number 44, and got just about a 3-yard gain, bringing up second down and 7, coming up second play of the game tonight. Johnson once again in the backfield, and looks like it's a direct snap here, and great play here by Providence, able to stop him. Christian Durden coming up from the safety, able to stop and throw for a 3-yard loss, bringing up third down and 10 for Elba. Excellent first 2 plays for the Providence defense.
The Eagles, number 5, Christian Durden, brings up third down.
And that was a direct snap there to Alvin Henderson. And last week, Henderson against Cottonwood was able to take that direct snap and take that in for a touchdown. What you'll see from Elba from time to time is some different kind of formations. We see number 44 right there over the guard. Sometimes he'll take a direct snap. Once again, it's a direct snap, and Henderson getting a little bit more running room. Give him 9 yards on that play, and that's going to bring up a 4th down and 1. Feel pretty confident that Elba is going to go for it there. So what you'll see from Elba from time to time is you'll see a snap to the quarterback, and he'll hand it off. The quarterback also is an accomplished passer, an accomplished runner, and then you have Christyle Caldwell, number 44. Sometimes we'll just go under center really quickly, and he'll take a direct snap as well. Last week, going almost 40 yards for a touchdown. But we did see Caldwell there limp off on this 4th and 1.
The Eagle 41.
And it's a direct snap to Henderson once again. He goes up the middle, able to pick his way through, give him just about 3 yards here. And so far, Providence seeing a steady dose of Henderson. Defensively, Providence has not been too bad, as I said before. But probably the problem is that they're giving up 28 points a game on defense. A lot of that coming in the second half. The offense just not there for Providence, and so the defense spending a lot of time on the field.
First down, 10 yards.
So it's a first down for Elba, overcoming a 3rd down and 10.
38.
First drive of the game, and it's a snap once again to Henderson. He's got a lot of room and gets about 5 yards on that play. And Providence, which had shown promise on the first couple of plays, is now giving up 4 or 5 yards of play to Elba. Elba not doing anything fancy, just direct snaps back to Henderson. For this second down play, Henderson going off the field. And one of the things that's difficult when you watch Elba, kind of the way that they line up, you're not quite sure who's going to get the football. 2nd down and 6. Another direct snap to a third player, and kind of whittles his way through and give him just about 10 yards on that play. And that looked like that was Justin Coleman.
Coleman with the carry at left guard. Picks up an Elba first down. They'll have it.
So Elba gets another first down there, and I've had 5 running plays so far from Elba. Last week against Cottonwood, Elba had 457 total yards, 421 of those coming on the ground. But earlier this year, Elba was able to throw quite a bit. In one of the wins over Zion Chapel, had a couple of passing touchdowns. This looks like a little bit more of a traditional set, but you just don't know. It goes back out to Braden. He's going to go down to the sideline, and that's kind of a tough pass there. That is incomplete, and Braden Johnson's got a good arm. As we said, 6 foot, 220 pounds, trying to go to the outside there. Looked like he was trying to hit Carson Wise, and Providence did a good job defending that play. That's going to be a tough pass. He's a little bit too far into the sideline. 2nd down and 10. Ball on the 26-yard line. It would be a huge lift for the Providence football team if they are able to hold them here and hold them maybe to a field goal try. They have a stoppage in play here. It looks like it could be one of those equipment malfunctions or something like that. Peyton McCart is asked to go off the field. And coming in his place will be Trenton Hamilton for this 2nd down and 10 play. Not quite sure what's going on. We're not working on McCart at all over there. So this is another direct snap, and picking his way through once again is Justin Coleman, and give him just about 6 yards on that play. And so that brings up about a 3rd down and 3, and I would feel pretty confident that this is 2-down territory with the ball sitting at the 20-yard line. But Providence defense really needs to step up right here and stiffen up and see if they can hold them either to a field goal try or a 4th down try. The defense last week playing pretty well. They got a couple of sacks and a couple of fumbles from Slocum. This is going to be a quick snap to Johnson. He's going to pitch it outside, and able to get the first down is McCart, who came back into the game. And there's a real scrum over at just about the 12-yard line or so, but give them 8 yards on that play, and that's another first down for Elba.
On the far sideline, the number 1, Peyton McCart. He picks up a Tiger first down.
So facing a 3rd down and 10 on the 3rd play of the game, Elba was able to overcome that, get 2 more first downs, and now first down and 10 at the 12-yard line, so that means that they can get a first down without getting a touchdown. It's been interesting. Most of the running at first was Henderson. Henderson has gone off, and we haven't seen him since. And this is number 8, Coleman, once again, who's getting a lot of work, and he pushes forward for just about 4 yards here. And he's already got 20 yards on this drive. And Elba is not, as well as eating up the field, they're eating up some of the clock too, as we're coming up on 7 minutes left in the first quarter. So they've already used 5 minutes of the first quarter.
Also in on the stop, number 6.
We've got Braden Johnson and Coleman in the backfield.
Long 6, short 7 for the Tigers.
And Coleman gets it once again. He really pushes his way forward. He's going to be right there near the first down marker, and we'll see where they mark it. That could be one of those where it's just 3rd and inches, or they're going to give him the first down. Looks like it's going to be a 3rd and inches.
5. Brings up 3rd down at about a yard.
So Elba controlling the line of scrimmage right now, and also controlling the clock, and exactly what you want to do. You want to just go down the field if you can, controlling the clock, cutting down those possessions, knowing that your offense plays as well as it does. There's another direct snap, and Henderson back in. Looks like he gets the first down, but he is knocked down about the 1.5. So Providence doing a good job there defensively to keep him out of the end zone.
He's down to about the 2-yard.
But that is going to be a 1st and goal, I believe.
In on the stop, the Eagles.
Well, it's interesting. From our vantage point, it looked like he got all the way down to about the 1.5, but they actually spotted it just about the 2-yard line, so they are going to measure to see if it is a first down. So sometimes where we are from the press box, we have a good view, but the view all the way down near the goal line is not nearly as good, and you can't tell as well. Elba coming in at 4-2. Their offense in the games that they have won, averaging 44 points. So what we're seeing so far is nothing out of the ordinary. Overall, averaging 38 points. It is a first down. So now Elba has a first down at the 2-yard line and first and goal at the 2. And so far we've seen two passes. One pass was an incompletion. One was just a little kind of flare out for 8 yards to McCart. But basically it's been running the whole time between Henderson and Coleman, and that's exactly what we'd expect to see right here. Now, you could watch for number 44 there over the left guard. He might get it right here near the goal line. And it's a direct snap back, and Providence once again ready for that one. And that looked like that was Coleman once again. And he stops, going to bring up second down and goal.
Left guard, short gain on the play.
That's one where maybe you'll give him a 1 yard on it. That's his 6th carry so far of the first quarter, 6th carry of this drive.
It'll be second down and goal to go.
Elba on their 13th play on this drive. They started at their own 49-yard line after a little onside kick attempt by Providence. Second down and goal. And it's hard to tell who has the ball, because like I said, Elba runs some of those different kind of plays there, and so I'm sorry I can't tell you who scored. Elba did score, but it's really hard to tell in that whole mass of people who scored. But Elba gets on the board with 4:50 to go in the first quarter, holding the ball for 7 minutes and 11 seconds, and running the ball all but 2 plays there.
Tigers lining up for the 1-point conversion, number 25.
So Tigers going here for the extra point. It's a high snap, and the kick is up. And it is good, nearly blocked. It is good, though, but after a 14-play drive that took 7 minutes and 11 seconds off the clock, Elba leads 7-0. And if you followed Elba football this year, this is exactly what they do. They have really been overwhelming opponents on offense. Now, defensively, when they come out, they have been known to give up some yards and give up some touchdowns and things like that, but the offense is just so overwhelming that a lot of times if you can't keep up with them scoring wise, that's how they end up beating you, because they're averaging 44 points a game in their wins and only giving up 19. Now, as Providence gets the ball, Providence has really been having some trouble offensively, having a really tough time moving the ball, tough time trying to get in scoring position. They come in 1-3, their one win over Northside, and scored 49 points in that game, and have only scored 7 points in the other 3 games, and that 7 points being a defensive touchdown in week 1 on the first offensive series of Rehoboth. Harrison Mims picked up that fumble and brought it in for a touchdown. Outside of that,
helping us ensure everyone's safety.
Providence has not scored. Last week getting shut out against Slocum 30-0. Christian Durden, the outstanding running back, is back, number 5, and he will return this kick.
Teeing it up at his own 40-yard line for the Tigers.
He's a junior that's got a lot of promise. He is an excellent running back and excellent safety. We've already seen him make a couple of plays defensively in this one.
Number 5, Christian Durden.
So here's the kick, a little bit of a line drive. Durden's going to pick it up at about the 22-yard line. Takes a little juke outside, able to get up to about the 35-yard line, so give him about 13 yards on that kickoff. And Providence, good field position starting at the 35. And we expect to see Harrison Mims at quarterback, Christian Durden at running back, and also Ryland Banner, Chapel Stickler. Those will be some of the names that you'll hear tonight. And Elba, pretty good defensively. We'll hear from Byron Burks, number 2, number 56, Kyle Smith, and Caldwell, number 44, excellent running back, excellent middle linebacker for Elba as well. So here's the first opening play for Providence on offense. They give it inside to Durden. He picks his way and give him just about 1 yard on that play. A host of Elba Tigers there to stop him. That'll bring up a second down and 9. And that's one of the problems that you've seen from Providence Providence this year. At times they'll get 6, 8, 10 yards, and then other times it's 1 yard, possibly a penalty, things like that has really stymied this offense. Another issue that Providence offense has had is turning the ball over. A couple of turnovers last week, an interception and a fumble. So they need to cut out those turnovers. It's going to be Harrison Mims going to go back. He's left-handed, so he's going to throw it. Had a receiver open right there. He had Connor Odom, I believe, and just overthrew him. And that brings up a 3rd down and 9. And as we've seen, this is kind of what happens to Providence. They get 1 yard on 1st down. Odom was open. Mims just a little high on that pass, goes through his hands, and now you got a 3rd down and 9. And an offense that's struggling. Last week, only 106 yards of total offense. They really need to get themselves in a position here to get this 1st down. The last thing you want to do is turn the ball back over to Elba and get your defense back on the field after they had sat there for 7 minutes and 11 seconds. It's an inside handoff. Looks like he got a little running room. Give him just about 3 yards here, and that's all that's going to happen. And so Providence going to come up with a 4th down and 7.
And off at right tackle goes to number 23, Ryland Banner.
So Ryland Banner gets 3 yards on that, brings up 4th down and 6. We do have a penalty, though. So we'll see if this proves to be in Providence's favor. Ooh, we had a face mask there by Elba, and that is in Providence's favor. It's a 5-yard face mask penalty, which is interesting. And other levels of football, it's always a 15-yard penalty. But here it goes back to 3rd down, and so now it's 3rd down and 1. So a break for Providence on the face mask on that play.
3rd down, about a yard.
So Harrison Mims holds it. He's got a big hole here. Runs over a player. Gets down to the 45-yard line. So give him just about 11 yards on that play. And Mims has been a very, very effective runner. Last week, when they only had 106 yards total, he had 2 or 3 really big runs throughout the season. He's had some big runs. 177 yards against Northside. Had 4 rushing touchdowns. So Mims very accomplished. And as he's feeling more and more comfortable at quarterback, that's one thing to remember. He was a backup quarterback last year, got a few snaps, but this year by far the most he's seen at quarterback, so you got to give him a few games to get in there and get comfortable. 1st down and 10. Mims going to go back to pass once again. It's going to be a middle screen to Durden. Durden's able to get the ball, just slides down. Had a lot of running room there if he could have kind of got himself back upfield, but give him 7 yards on the play. An excellent play there, and something that you don't see a lot from Providence, screen passes or middle screens like that. But that is an effective play and probably something Elba has not seen this year when they're looking at tape for Providence. So a drive that looked like it was going to be 4th down and 9 gets extra life from the penalty on Elba. Providence taking advantage of it. 2nd down and 4 at the 36-yard line, and straight snap right there. It looks like to Harrison Mims once again, and he powers forward to bring up a 3rd down and 1.
He's just shy of the 35-yard line.
I think that was him. That may have been Zach Gamble. So if Zach Gamble's family's watching, I'm sorry if it was him and wasn't able to see that. You would think it would be easier to see here from the press box, but it's not as easy as you think it would be. Providence lining up. Looks like the spot was not as good as we expected, so it looks like it's 3rd down 1.5. Mims going to roll out. He's got his man open right there. Just a little flip pass. Got it to Gamble there, and he was able to he was able to get about 7 yards there. Keeps the drive alive, and Providence known more for rushing than passing. A couple of passes so far that have been good. So give Mims 2 completions for 14 yards, and Gamble able to take that up and keep this drive alive. With 1:32 to go in the first quarter, it's a fast-moving first quarter, and each team looks like they're only going to have 1 possession. So as a coach, you have to think about this is possession football and how you want to call the plays. So a triple handoff there to Ryland Banner. He's going to go in for the touchdown. Really good play there for a really good play there for Providence. Mims hands the ball off to Durden, who then hands it to Banner, who's coming inside, and Elba expecting it just to be straight. Durden, once he got past the line of scrimmage, able to just waltz in for the 28-yard touchdown. And Providence with their first offensive touchdown outside of the Northside game, an excellent drive.
Number 13, Davis Bolton, is your kicker.
So we'll see if, and we were going to say if Bolton could get the extra point, but it looks like that we have a penalty marker here. Offsides with Elba. I don't think that that's going to change the thought process at all for Providence to go for 2, even though it'll be 1 yard closer. But give Providence credit. Looked like it was going to be 4th down and 9. They had second opportunity on the face mask for Elba, made it 3rd down and 1, able to get the first down and then go down the field with a combination of running and passing, which again you don't see a lot from Providence. And it's a high snap, and so now just going to do the fire drill and see what they can do. And that was a play that, because of that high snap, Craig Pittman there just tried to do what he could. He is a backup quarterback, so he knows how to throw it, but Elba ready for that one as well. So Providence, give them a credit there to get on the board. They trail 7-6 with 1:10 to go, and I said that each team was only going to have 1 possession in the first quarter. Apparently, I was a little rash in saying that, so Elba will get the ball back with 1:10 to go, leading 7-6. But as we said, Providence having some trouble scoring, only averaging 14 points a game, and really all of that coming in the Northside game outside of a defensive touchdown. So Providence, after having a week off last week, a chance to kind of regroup and go back, and you can see that they worked on some plays that we haven't seen that much of with passing, and then also that double handoff where Mims hands it off to Durden, who then handed it off to Ryland Banner on the inside. Elba looking at Durden the whole time, and once Banner took a couple of steps past the line of scrimmage, there was nobody between him and the end zone, and he runs it in, and we got ourselves the ball game. 3A Providence 6 and 2A Elba 7 with 1:10 to go, and Providence kicking off.
Teeing it up from his own 40-yard line for the Eagles, number 13. Bolton back deep to receive the time.
And so it's just a little bit of a squib kick down, and Elba, and that's the reason that you do it. Elba kicking it around just a little bit, but an excellent return, though, up to about the 33-yard line. And I think that was Alvin Henderson, who we've seen quite a bit of on the first opening possession for Elba. He's got some good speed, getting the ball just about the 18-yard line or so, and he takes it all the way up to the 32. So with 1:04 to go, we'll see Elba back out on offense. They ran 14 plays and 7 minutes and 11 seconds in their first possession. So we'll see if they do a little bit more of what we've saw in that first possession, where it's more possession football than trying to look for big plays. Braden Johnson, number 12, is the quarterback, but he only took 3 or 4 snaps. Henderson, number 6, took more of those direct snaps, and he does it once again. And looking along the right side, was not able to get there, and that was an excellent play by number 23, Ryland Banner. So Banner feeling good right now after that 28-yard touchdown. Comes up and gets a tackle for loss, and that's a 5-yard loss, and putting Elba behind the chains now. 2nd down and 15, 40 seconds to go in this first quarter, and Elba probably going to run one more play. No reason to go too quick, a lot of game ahead of you. So now in a little bit more of a traditional offensive set with Johnson at quarterback, but once again the snap goes all over the place here. Johnson with an inside handoff, and Providence had it defensed pretty well, but this looks like it could go the distance. We'll see what happens here. He breaks back inside, and just to end the first quarter, Elba runs a great play that just gets in for a touchdown, and that's Byron Burks, who's known more for playing cornerback than playing wide receiver. He just takes basically a wide receiver inside handoff and ends up going 65 yards for the touchdown, running out of gas right at the very end, but able to get over the end zone there. And We talk about Elba, 7 minutes, 11 seconds. Second possession,
Touchdown Tigers.
2 plays, and they go 65 yards. And it's a play after losing 5 yards. And then that just gave Burks 5 more yards as he goes in for the touchdown. So now it's 13-6 Elba. And one of the things we talked about is Elba's offense can be overwhelming. That's a perfect example right there. So Alexander Weiskup in for the extra point. Just got the extra point in the first time.
Version try. Once again, it's number 25, Weiskup, the kicker.
A little bit easier opportunity this time, and he hits it. And with 9 seconds to go in the first quarter, 14-6 Elba. And those couldn't have been 2 possessions that couldn't have been more night and day. And Elba holding it 7 minutes and 11 seconds the first time, and then holding it a minute 5 for the second one. And basically that was the first play. Second play, an inside handoff on a wide receiver end around where Byron Burks took it 65 yards. Burks, as I said, more known for his defense. He had an interception return for a touchdown against Zion Chapel, had an interception last week against Cottonwood, and we expect to see just a little bit more from him defensively. But he was spectacular there offensively. So with 9 seconds to go, Providence going back once again for the kickoff. Christian Durden going back. And folks, if you wanted to be in for a shootout, that's what we might have tonight. Elba averaging 44 points a game, and as we said, had 450 yards last week, and you can see why. They do have an offense that's hard to defend with the ball going to a number of different people in the background, in the backfield. So Weiskup coming in to kick off once again. Last time he did just a little bit of a kind of a low line drive, and Durden was able to take it back to the 35.
Number 25, Weiskup. Once again, back deep to receive.
It's an absolutely beautiful night here in Dothan, Alabama. A perfect night. It's going to be a little bit of a squibber, and it's going to go right to Jonathan Wells, and he takes it at about the 43-yard line, covers it up nicely, and with 8 seconds to go, Providence will run one play, and we'll be done with the first quarter. So both teams kind of trying that squib, trying to get the linemen up front to have to get on top of the ball. You never know. They might bang off their hands, not used to having the ball. So far hasn't worked for either team. Excellent field position for Providence, and if you gave up a big play like they did, next thing you want to do is at least have good field position and put yourself in a positive position heading into the second quarter. Mims and Durden once again in the backfield, and it's going to be a give to Durden. Kind of picks his way. Oh, he had a hole there for just a second and give him just about 3.5 yards on that play, and that's going to be the last play of the first quarter. But I'll tell you right there, if Durden's able to plant, he had a lot of green in front of him, and that's a good sign for Providence as we head to the second quarter. Lots of action in the first quarter, 14-6. Elba on top, 2A leading 3A. We'll have the second quarter for you coming up. You're watching the Scenic Cable Sports Network.
Your number one source for high school sports. You're watching the Scenic Sports Network.
Lewis Smith Supply is dedicated to offering a vast collection of fixtures, faucets, and accessories for your kitchen and bath. Make your dreams a reality. Step into the area's only Kohler Premier Showroom or see Delta's Brizo collection for the latest trends in kitchen and bathroom designs. Lewis Smith Supply offers an extensive line of plumbing supplies for contractors or do-it-yourselfers. For more inspiration, come visit one of our showrooms in Dothan or Enterprise.
Okay, ready here to start the second quarter at Providence Christian High School. Providence with the second possession of the game. I'm Mike Bridges calling the game for you tonight.
7 yards to go.
Handoff once again to Durden. He gets a little bit to the outside, stumbles, but is able to jump over a player, give him just about 13 yards on that carry. It gives Providence a first down, trailing 14-6. Providence getting the ball, running one play to end the third quarter, and a lot of opportunity for Durden on the first play of this possession. So you saw a little bit more of it there where he got 13 yards. He's got 17 yards on 3 carries so far. And Providence offense looking much more crisp, much more comfortable than what we've seen coming off the off week last week. You see a big difference in Providence this week. So there's Mims right up the middle. Give him 9 yards. He's already over 23 yards tonight on 3 carries. And so the offense that only had 106 yards total last week already showing a lot more signs of life against Elba. The offensive line getting some push, and Providence right now trailing 14-6, cannot afford to not score.
Blue 13, flex 62. You can scream it. They don't know what it means. Tell them 62. Just tell it to them.
So one of the things that Providence did in their first possession is passed it 4 times on that first possession. So we'll see if we'll see a little bit more of it here. Mims back to pass, nobody open. He's got a good scramble ability. He's going to get on the outside and get him down inside the 30-yard line and give him about 6 yards, 7 yards on that. Had he just committed to the run, he probably would have had a lot more, but gets another first down and gets him down just inside the right at the 30-yard line. So it's kind of hard to tell sometimes from our vantage point. So first down and 10, second first down of this possession, and the Eagles once again starting to drive. As I said, we're seeing just a little bit more passing from Providence, which is good to see because most teams expecting them to just straight run the ball. Mims with a give to Durden, straight up the middle. He's got a big hole, bounces to the outside, takes a big hit at the 20, but that knocks him forward about 2 yards. He comes up slapping his hands, and he has got his last 2 runs for 13 yards and 12 yards. So you can see that Providence opening up more holes. This is the most running room that we have seen Providence have since the Northside game, and against Rehoboth, Wicksburg, and Slocum, not quite as much running room. So this is good to see for Providence fans, good to see for Providence football, getting back to their ways of really getting those chunk plays that we're used to seeing. First down and 10 at the 18.5-yard line. Mims with a give, fakes it, and Durden goes straight up the middle once again, takes a couple of tacklers and give him 7 yards. And so between Durden and Mims, we're seeing almost 40 yards so far on the ground, and Providence just grinding it up. That's what you want to do as well. What we said that Elba did in the first quarter when they held it for 7 minutes, you just keep that defense on their heels and keep them thinking run, and then you can pop a little pass in there, here and there. Second down and 6. Durden flares out, and looks like we're going to have either illegal motion. That was one where you just couldn't quite tell if Providence was committed to what they had to do on that play. So it takes a second down and 6 back to a second and 11. But I feel pretty confident right now that we're in 4-down territory here. Elba is not going to let up any on offense, and they're going to be tough to stop all night.
Illegal procedure.
So let's call it a second down and 10.
To the 18-yard line, where there'll be second.
A little bit of motion, and Durden gets the ball once again, goes inside, and just puts his head down and give him just about 1 yard on that play. So now this kind of gets you into the dilemma of a second down and 5 turns into a second down and 10, which now turns into a 3rd and 9. So this promising drive has some adversity here to see if Providence can overcome. Like I said, I'd feel pretty comfortable that this is going to be 2-down territory here to get this 9 yards. Providence a little bit slow here on this play. The play clock under 10 seconds, coming up on 5 seconds here. And Mims going to go back to pass. And he has a guy open. Now he's looking. He throws it. Another guy in the end zone. Let's see if they're going to give him the catch. Now they say no. The official's not 100% committed there to that no signal. And that was a pass to number 11, Grant Baker. And he was open, and Mims just not able to throw it. And just if he had gone another yard or so on that pass, he would have had a touchdown.
Ball still resting at the Tigers.
So that's going to bring up a 4th down and 9. Providence looks like they're going to call a timeout. They do, with 7:56 to go in the second quarter, and the first real decision for Providence coming up. We're going to take the timeout with them. You're watching the Scenic Cable Sports Network. Back at Providence Christian High School, just under 8 minutes to go. Elba leading 14-6. 4th down and 10. Providence electing to go for it, not go for the field goal. And Harrison Mims once again going to go back to pass. He's being the middle linebacker that we talked about, Crystal Caldwell, able to harass Mims just enough and couldn't get anything on that throw. And Elba able to hold Providence and gain possession once again, leading 14-6. And Caldwell, an excellent middle linebacker, had 7 tackles last week, 3 tackles for loss. You could see he made up a lot of ground there on Mims and made him throw that ball not as accurate as he would like to. And Providence turning it over on downs. And so far, Elba's had 2 possessions and scored on both of the possessions. The second one coming on 2 plays and a 65-yard touchdown run by Byron Burks, his only touch of the game so far, but that's for 65 yards. So Providence defense really need to step up right here and stop Elba, because if Elba goes up 21-6, going to put a lot of pressure on the offense for Providence. So it's a little outside pass, and that was dropped there. And Justin Coleman, but I don't think Coleman had a whole lot to do there. Providence doing a good job on that play, so it makes it 2nd down and 10.
Goes incomplete, brings up 2nd down and 10 for the Tigers. Ball still resting at their own 18-yard line.
Elba's offense, like we talked about last week, putting up 450 yards, routinely going between 350 and 400 to 500 yards. So offensively, they put a lot of pressure on the defense, and Providence knows that coming into this game. Once again, Johnson going to go back. He had a guy open and chose not to pass it. He's going to run. He's a good runner, but not able to get away from Harrison Mims there from his linebacker position. Kind of stood back and was able to stop Johnson there. And Johnson got no gain, so they're going to give him 1 yard. That brings up 3rd down and 9. And the last time that Elba was able to have a 3rd down and 9, they were able to overcome it with just a little bit of a swing pass to the outside. That one went to McCart, who was able to get down and get about 8 yards and get that 1st down. So it's 3rd down and 9. I think Elba might call a timeout here. Yes, they do, as the play clock was going down. This is really the first big play of the game for them in the first quarter. And when they were 3rd down and 10, that's one thing with the whole game ahead of you. Now with 7 minutes to go in the second quarter and down and up 14-6, you certainly don't want to have to turn around and punt it back to Providence. So they want to talk about their opportunities. 7 minutes to go in the second quarter at Providence Christian High School. Elba leading 14-6, looking at a 3rd down and 9. Just called timeout.
9 yards to go. Ball resting at their own 19-yard line.
Let's see what play they come up with. They're going to pass it once again, and Johnson's under pressure, able to get the ball out, and it looks like he does get a 1st down. He's got a good arm there. Jonathan Wells putting some pressure on Johnson, but he was able to get enough on it to give Elba a 1st down. And
1st down and 10 yards to go. Ball resting just inside their own.
Twice Providence had Elba in 3rd and long, and Elba able to overcome both of those and keep this drive alive. So 1st down and 10 at the 30. This is the third possession for Elba, and we're seeing more passing out of them, something that they do intermittently, and then some games they really rush it well. This is just going to be a straight rush by Johnson, and like we said, he's 6 foot, 220 pounds. He's tough to get down, and give him 8 yards on that play, and that was only his second run of the game. Last week he had a couple of big runs, and throughout the season he's had some really big chunk plays, and you can see why there. Just kind of picks his way through. Not an easy guy to bring down at 6 foot, 220 pounds. So that give him 7 on that possession, and so now it brings up 2nd down and 3. The clock running. You can see what Elba does. They can control the clock. The snap once again to Johnson, just a run on his part. He just goes straight up the middle and just give him 4 yards there. So it worked one time. Why not try another one? That just keeps the clock moving. That keeps the chains moving. And 2 minutes ago we were looking at a 3rd down and 9, and Elba now seems a little bit more in control of this drive than they were just a couple of minutes ago. And Johnson calling his own number a couple of times here. And the first 2 possessions we saw a little bit more of direct snaps to Henderson and Coleman. Here we're seeing it straight to Johnson. This one goes straight to Coleman. Now he reverses field and gets to the outside and gets the 1st down, and is knocked out of bounds after about a 13-yard gain. So what looked like an opportunity to get him at the line of scrimmage. His quickness is able to get to the outside. You can see his shiftiness, and Elba
with a carry around left end.
2 pretty good chunk plays now, getting almost 30 yards on the last 2 plays, and the clock rolling down here at 5 minutes to go, and Elba 1st and 10 at the Providence 45-yard line.
Number 17, Pemberton.
Justin Coleman's in the backfield with Johnson. We have a stoppage of play. Looks like Providence calls another timeout, and I know Providence looking at the clock and looking at those last couple of plays, knowing that if they have to go in at halftime down 21-6, that it's going to be a tall task in the second half. So you can see that Coach Keith for Providence really talking to the guys defensively, getting them fired up, getting them understanding that they really need to stop here, because if Providence could get the ball back and go down and be down 14-13, maybe go for 2 and have it tied at halftime at 14, have a real opportunity. Going down 21-6 going to put a lot of pressure on an offense that has not scored a lot of points this year, and really, as we talked about, all their points coming in the Northside game, being shut out offensively in the other 3 games. So we'll see if the talk by Coach Keith was able to get Providence a little more fired up. And what you need to see is a little bit more fight from the defensive line. They did a good job the first couple of plays on this possession, but been able to get a little bit more spread out in the middle. And Elba has done a pretty good job. So Johnson just going to be a quick pass out to McCart. We've seen this a couple times. He's got a little bit of an avenue, a lot more than you expected on that play. And it looks like Providence really caught a break there. He tripped himself, but give him 23 yards on that play. And Elba once again with a 1st down, and McCart with just a little, just a flare pass out to the side has already got 40 yards receiving, and hasn't received the ball more than a yard down the field, but able to make a lot of yards after the catch there. One of the things that you notice with Elba is that they're very deliberate when they're out there. They don't go too fast. They don't go too slow. They go just the round amount of time here, and able to keep the clock rolling. Now there was a ball up in the air that looks like Providence gets the interception. We'll have to see. It is. Give the interception to Providence, and that was Crystal Caldwell. Just runs a quick in. The ball was there. He kind of fumbled it a little bit, was hit, and the ball was knocked up in the air. I couldn't see which Providence player was able to get the interception, but Caldwell is down, and a drive for Elba that was very, very promising ends in a turnover. And they're going to look at Caldwell for a couple of minutes and going to take a timeout. So we'll take the timeout with them. Providence will have the ball when we come back. 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. You are the Scenic Cable Sports Network. 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Elba leading 14-6. The first break of the game here coming for Providence, getting an interception on a drive that Elba was able to control the ball and take it right down the field. Cristal Caldwell was helped off the field, and so we'll check and see
16-yard line.
how he's doing. So Mims going to take the ball, go straight up the middle, has a little bit of a crease, and give him just about 5 yards on that play. And that's a play that's been working a little bit more for Providence.
Gain of about 5.
As we talked about, Providence certainly didn't want to go down 21-6 at the half as Elba was really controlling the ball. So with 4 minutes to go, Providence has an opportunity to cut the score down to 1, if not 2. We got a second down and 5, and Providence being able quite a bit more to run the ball than they have the last couple of weeks. And you can tell the week off has really helped the offense. Mims with a give inside to Durden. He breaks to the outside. He makes a good cut and makes more yards than it looked like he was going to able to get there. And so let's give him 12 yards on that carry. As you start to look at Durden's carries, 3 of the last 5 carries have been 13, 12, and 12. So he's starting to put together a pretty big night and just can't quite get his balance. On that play, he was able to get 4 or 5 yards and bounce and kind of spun around. Had he been able to just bounce outside without spinning, he probably would have got a lot more. Most importantly, got a first down. Keep the chains moving as Providence continues to move the ball. Mims going to go straight up again. He's got a big hole there, cuts inside, give him 11 yards on that play, and you're starting to see more chunks from Providence. The running game really working and really right up the middle, so you can see the offensive line doing a good job moving that defensive line. And also with Cristal Caldwell going out for Elba, number 44 on the offensive end, he's also an excellent middle linebacker. As we saw in that 4th down play, putting pressure on Mims, he's out of the game, and so that does help the middle of the line as well. First down and 10 from the 45-yard line. Mims going to take it himself once again, goes up the middle, has good yardage, kind of pushing the pile, and give him 9 yards on that play. And one of the Providence players thrown over the pile. Typically that is a penalty. Not tonight. And going to give him 9 yards. The ball now in Elba territory, and you can see that interception took a little wind out of Elba. And Providence, which has been able to move the ball tonight, and really a penalty on the last series, knocked that drive down, or they may have gone down and scored. They're moving the ball once again inside Elba territory at the 46-yard line, second down and 1. It's going to be just a little pitch out to Durden. He's got some room. He's going to try to move to the outside, able to get the first down and give him 2 yards on the play. He's kind of thrown down, but he was kind of going down before the fans wanting a penalty, but that's going to be a tough penalty to call. The official right there on top of it saw that Durden was actually going down as he stepped out of bounds. The clock is stopped at 2:19. Most importantly, Providence with another first down. And as we've talked about earlier, that things that have plagued Providence is not being able to move the ball. Last week, just 100 yards, basically 106 yards total offense. They've eclipsed that tonight, so you can see much better tonight and have not turned the ball over. Mims going to go back to pass. He's got a guy open, able to hit Grant Baker, and it's going to be right there at the first down marker. And just missing Baker for a touchdown earlier in the game. There he's able to get him and for 10 yards, and Providence keeps the chains moving there.
Play picks up an Eagle first down. They'll have it 1st and 10. Ball we put in play from the Elba 33-yard.
So the ball at the 33-yard line, following an interception. Providence taking advantage, moving the ball down the field. 2 minutes to go, so they will have to have a little bit of urgency. There was a ball that was thrown, an excellent catch by Christian Durden, who's able to go back on his backside, get it with one hand, and flip it up. Those are the types of plays that you need in games like this to be able to not only get the first down, but get them deep in territory down to the 14-yard line. So that would be a 19-yard gain and a play that looked like it wasn't going to go anywhere. Durden makes a spectacular play to get the ball down to the 14-yard line with 1:53 to go. Now Providence can take their time and put a few plays together. They do have an excellent field goal kicker if they chose to go for a field goal. Mims going to go straight up the field. It looks like he dropped the ball and it went out, and let's see, Elba says they have it and the official says they do. And just when you thought that Providence was going to go down and put an excellent drive together once again, Mims fumbles the ball, and that was after about a 7-yard gain. And one thing that has plagued Mims this year has been fumbles and interceptions. And at the most inopportune time, he fumbles the ball, especially given that he had daylight and a little bit of a move here or there, and he might have been able to score on that one. So both teams have promising drives to end the second quarter, both ending in turnovers. So we'll see what Elba can do. They have 1:47, and they're about 92 yards away. It's a direct snap. And Coleman makes his way through and really continues to churn his way, give him a first down all the way up to the 20-yard line. So the clock will stop as they reset the chains, and Elba not showing a lot of urgency yet with 1.5 to go in the second quarter. They are holding a 14-6 lead, and if you're wondering, Providence will get the second half kickoff. So had they scored there, you could see how big that would be, especially getting the ball to start the second half. Once again, another direct snap. Looks like Henderson's going to make it to the outside. He can't quite get around the corner, so give him 5 yards, and also stopping the clock by going out of bounds.
Number 6, Henderson with a carry around left in.
So Elba not really showing a lot of urgency here to try to get the ball down the field. Johnson, the quarterback, is a good passer, and so he can pass the ball. We've seen that he's already got 43 yards passing tonight. Last week didn't have, I think he only had 1 yard passing, or let's see, had 36 yards passing. So here he's just going to run it straight up the middle, and Providence able to meet him and take him down, give him just a 2-yard gain there. And so now this brings up a 3rd down and 4 with coming up on a minute to go. So it doesn't look like Elba has a lot of urgency to try to go down and score here.
And on the stop, the Eagles, number 51, Charlie.
Which really surprises me, the way that their offense has been running and the way that they have had some pretty decent passing.
3 yards to go for the Tigers. All risking their own.
So it's just a straight handoff, and Coleman actually retreated, not quite sure what he was thinking there, tackled inbounds as well. And if Providence has a timeout, they used 2 earlier, they would be smart to use it here and force them to punt.
10. No gain on the play.
But the clock is going to continue to run here, and there is a timeout. Looks like Providence called the timeout. The official is not very demonstrative when he calls the timeouts there. So, but 22 seconds to go, 4th down and 4, deep in their own territory. We'll see if Elba's going to try to go for it or if they will punt. There's 22 seconds left in the second quarter. Interesting that Cristal Caldwell, who got hurt on the last possession for Elba, is the normal punter for Elba. So now Braden Johnson, the quarterback, back in the punting formation. So we have to wait to see if he's actually going to punt it or if he'll run it. He is going to punt it, and a pretty decent punt. Might have even been tipped a little bit, but Christian Durden's going to take it at his own 42. He's got a little bit of a lane, going to run outside, get down to just about the 40. Let's see where they're going to mark it, about the 39. 10 seconds to go, so just enough that Providence can run 1, maybe 2 plays.
Down to about the Tiger 40.
So they'll start here, and it's an excellent possession there by the Providence defense, able to stop Elba and not give up a big play. And really, when you look at this first half, the defense hasn't played too bad outside of that 65-yard run there that Elba had to score their second touchdown. Providence has kept most everything right in front of them and created a turnover. So the defense keeping the offense in it, the offense turning it over on downs, and a turnover the last 2 possessions, or it could be a little bit of a different game here. So Providence with 3 wideouts, and Mims is going to go back to pass. He's going to go way up top, and he's got a man open, and the ball getting there just a little bit late, and Zach Gamble almost coming up with that one. Mims almost able to lay that in. 4 seconds to go, and this most likely, pending a defensive penalty, will be the final play of the first half.
Incompletion brings up second down. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Eagles. Ball being put in play from the Elba 39.
And I would guess that if Providence had a play that somewhat of a Hail Mary, I wouldn't be confident that Mims could get the ball all the way down to the end zone. But what you want to do more than anything is get it down there, and there possibly could be a penalty or something like that. So we have another wideout coming into the game, Grant Baker coming in, and so Providence with 4 wide receivers. They're all just going to go down, and Mims is going to go down, try to get it toward Baker. Almost caught there by Grant Odom. Was not, and that's the final play of the first half. Elba will go to halftime leading 14-6. Providence had their chances. When we come back for the second half, we'll see if they can capitalize it. Providence will get the football back to start the second half. You're watching the Scenic Cable Sports Network.
Your number 1 source for high school sports. You're watching the Scenic Sports Network.
Lewis Smith Supply is dedicated to offering a vast collection of fixtures, faucets, and accessories for your kitchen and bath. Make your dreams a reality. Step into the area's only Kohler Premier Showroom or see Delta's Brizo collection for the latest trends in kitchen and bathroom designs. Lewis Smith Supply offers an extensive line of plumbing supplies for contractors or do-it-yourselfers. For more inspiration, come visit one of our showrooms in Dothan or Enterprise.
Okay, we're ready for second half action of Providence Christian football.
Start the second half tonight. The Tigers
14-6, Elba has the lead. It was a very entertaining first half, and as we noted throughout the first half, Providence having trouble offensively, able to correct a lot of that tonight, and unofficially already with 189 yards on the night. Opening kickoff here the second half, Durden kind of fumbles it a little bit, makes a couple of moves right up the middle, has a little bit of daylight, able to take the ball up to about the 38-yard line. So an excellent return after fumbling it just a little bit. And Providence, which was able to move the ball throughout the first half, gets the ball to start the second half. First down and 10 at the 38-yard line. And expecting a lot more of the same that we saw in the first half. Harrison Mims running the ball very effectively, especially the last 2 possessions, gaining 62 yards unofficially, also throwing for 43 yards, which has had some trouble throwing it this year, not so far in the first half. Christian Durden with 51 yards unofficially in that first half as well. So the first give is going to be to Durden straight up the middle, and that is stacked up. The ball is loose. It looked like he had been stopped, and the officials once again look at each other, not sure what to call, and they call it a fumble. Honestly, folks, I'm not sure how you call that a fumble. Looked like he was stopped. And the ball came out well after the pile, but they're going to give it to Elba, and Providence turned the ball over once in the first half with a fumble deep into Elba territory where it looked like they were going to go in to score, and Harrison Mims actually looked like he probably could have scored on that play before dropping the ball, and proved to be a little bit of the difference as Elba went in with a 14-6 halftime lead. Elba comes up with the turnover here to start the second half deep in Providence territory, and it's a direct snap snap once again, and something that we saw a lot of in the first half, and that is Christyle Caldwell, who was actually hurt in the first half, and on an interception by Providence, he was hit and had to be helped off, and that is his first time that we've seen him since that series, and give him 2 yards on that. He had no yards on 3 carries. He had
number 54, Jonathan Wells.
actually had -1 yard in the first half, so give him 1 yard so far, and he is an excellent running back, and had a long touchdown last week against Cottonwood, so he is dangerous. He takes the direct snap once again, goes straight up the middle. Providence doing a good job once again in holding him to just 2 yards. So first 2 plays for Elba, direct snaps back to Caldwell, and he takes it straight up the middle, and brings up a 3rd down and about 6 for Elba following the turnover. And as I said last week, Caldwell with a pretty good touchdown run, and he's had a couple of runs of 28-plus yards for touchdowns. So to get him out in the open field, he is elusive and tough to get down. And like we said earlier in the broadcast, he's 6'1", 220, so not an easy guy to get down. So a direct snap here for the 3rd time. Got a little bit of running room, and Providence plays it excellent there. Alvin Henderson trying to get loose, and actually I think he's going to lose 3 yards. He had 16 yards in the first half on 9 carries, and he'd have a couple of positive plays and a couple of tackles for loss, and that's another tackle for loss there. Brings up a 4th down and 7 or so, and I'm sure Elba's going to go for it here. Their kicker, Wisecup, has done good on the extra points, but doesn't look like he has a lot of range. This would be looking at about a 45-yard field goal. So Johnson with an inside handoff. Providence plays it excellent, and they go to Byron Burks there, and he's able to just get 2 yards, and Providence able to hold on 4th down. So following the turnover, Providence defense with their best stand of the night gives the ball right back to Providence. And a little side note there, Burke was 1 rush for 65 yards, and so his average cut in half there, and he may want to point that out to the coach when he goes over to halftime, that his average is taking a hit there. So he played just about 2.5 minutes. Both teams have had the ball 1 time. Providence with a turnover. Elba held on downs. Excellent Providence defense, and you really have to give it to Providence. Outside of the 65-yard run by Burke for a touchdown, they played pretty well against this Elba offense. Durden just puts his head down and able to go forward for just about 5 yards, and a team that only had 106 yards total in their last outing, had a week off last week. You can see worked on that offense much more crisp. If you go all the way back to the Rehoboth game, if you want to go back here on the Scenic Cable Sports Network YouTube channel and take a look at that Rehoboth game, this offense had a lot of problems, a lot of people moving, not real confident when they're supposed to go in motion on the plays. You can really tell a difference. This offense much more crisp tonight. Elba an excellent opponent, and Providence able to move the ball. Durden gets the ball and tries to kind of hop over one tackler, but couldn't get past the second tackler, and he's going to be thrown for about a 2-yard loss. So Providence able to run the ball pretty well, not able to run the ball on that one, so that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 8. And Providence has not done as well tonight on 3rd and long, so we'll see what they dial up here. Passed the ball just a little bit more in the first half than we're used to seeing, and 43 yards passing from Mims. Had a couple more guys at times that were open, not able to hit them. Got a lot of players kind of coming in and out here, and the play clock coming down to about 6 seconds, and that's when Providence calls timeout, a play that they really need to get correct, and so they're going to call a timeout and talk about it. We'll take the timeout with them. 8:14 to go in the 3rd quarter. You're watching the Scenic Cable Sports Network. Following a Providence Christian High School timeout with 8:14 to go in the 3rd quarter, facing a 3rd down and 8. We'll see what Providence dials up here. Christian Durden in the backfield. And Mims going to roll out. He's got a guy open and see if he can hit him, and just overthrows Grant Baker. Had him open, and a couple of the passes that Mims not able to hit tonight, just a little bit too high, and that was an opportunity there to get a 1st down, and Providence 4th down deep in their own territory, the 20-yard line, will punt the ball. Mims is the punter, and you just never know if they've got something dialed up. Against Rehoboth, there was actually a opportunity to where they had a fourth down punt about 6 different times before they were able to run a fake punt and get it. This time I'm pretty confident that Mims is going to punt it. There's a big rush from Elba. He's able to get it off early. It's a low line drive. Does take a good Providence bounce down to about the 35-yard line. And given the rush that was coming on Mims there, he did a good job to get that out and get the ball at the 35-yard line. So give him just about 45 yards on that punt. And in high school, a 45-yard punt is excellent because we can see anything from a punt that actually goes behind the line of scrimmage to a punt that would go 40, 50 yards. So Elba coming out for their second possession of the second half, holding a 14-6 lead. Had a promising drive late in the second quarter, ended with an interception, and that's actually where Christyle Caldwell got hurt. And then a second possession late in the first half, didn't really do much and had to punt. Here's another direct snap, and that one goes back to Coleman. And we've seen that a number of times tonight. And for Coleman, it worked to the tune of just about 50 yards or so, unofficially in the first half there. Just give him 1 yard. And so far here in the second half, the direct snaps, we saw a couple to Caldwell and one there to Henderson, and then the one that we just saw there to Coleman, just not really working for Elba the way that it did in the first half, really that first drive. Elba had 14 plays on that opening drive that they held it for 7 minutes, have only had 12 plays since the rest of the game. This is the first time that we've seen Coleman really get through the line and give him 10 yards on that carry. And so right when I say that play is not working, it works for Elba, gets them a first down. But as I was saying, they had 14 plays on that opening drive and only 12 the rest of the first half. So give Providence credit. They were able to hold them in check a lot better. Part of that was the second drive for Elba, resulted in a 65-yard touchdown on the second play of that drive. So first down here at about the 41-yard line, a direct snap once again to Coleman. He sees a little hole on the left side, might have a chance to go on this one. Got a big run here. Providence not going to be able to get him. And just like that, Elba strikes once again, had a 65-yard touchdown. Here, give them a 53-yard touchdown. And Coleman, who had been kept in check pretty well tonight, bursts out for 53 yards, give him 100 yards on the night, and Elba pushes that lead up to 20-6. And a Providence defense which had done pretty well of bending and not breaking, really broke there. Coleman able to just kind of hit it a little bit there on the left side, and once he got past that initial line there, Calvin McClintock was in, had an opportunity to get him, could not do that, and Coleman outran everybody into the end zone. He's got pretty good speed as well. So it was a low snap, and Elba's going to see what they can do. There's nobody on that side, and Providence able to stop Peyton McCart there. Not a whole lot you're going to do there on low snaps. So we've seen a low snap for Providence, didn't work out, and a low snap there by Elba didn't work out as well. So they do lead by 2 touchdowns, but instead of it being a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, if Providence can get back in this one and score a couple times, they can tie them at 20. It is 20-6 with 6:40 to go in a game that saw a lot of offense right away, and then things kind of settled down, but it's been entertaining with Providence turning it over a couple of times and Elba turning it over one time and going down the field up and down. So we've been seeing some plays offensively, a few plays defensively, but as I said at the start of the game, Elba has a chance with their offense to kind of overwhelm you, averaging 44 points in their wins, 38 points overall. The two teams that they lost to right now are 6-1, so they've been playing some excellent football out of Class 2A, so one of the better teams that you'll see in Class 2A, and I would feel pretty confident to say that this has the makings of a team that can go make a little bit of a run in the playoffs as well. Sometimes those are matchups, so you just don't know, but between their direct snaps and some of the passing game, Elba's a formidable opponent for someone this year.
Back to receive the Eagles, number 5, Durden.
Christian Durden back for Providence, and he's had a couple of good returns, and there's also been a squib kick. This is just a little pop-up, and Grant Bakers gets it and able to really make some good room there and gets the ball up to about the 38-yard line. And so Providence starting over here with their third possession of the third quarter, and excellent field position, and just like what happened in the first half when they went down 7-0, got the ball at a good starting position, able to take it down the field. We do have an injured Providence player on the field, so we'll take a timeout right now as they tend to the player. 6:32 to go in the third quarter. Elba's lead now up 20-6. First down and 10, Providence having the ball following the Elba touchdown at their own 38-yard line. And Harrison Mims going to fake the handoff, going to go straight up the middle and really stacked up there. And Providence has had a lot of success up the middle, and on that play not able to have much success at all. And in fact, no gain there for Mims. He had an excellent first half, 62 yards rushing, and really started to put together some chunk plays the last 4 or 5 times he ran it. Also 43 yards passing, so give him over 100 total yards. Earlier this year in a win against Northside, he was able to run for about 177 yards with 4 touchdowns, so he's very formidable when he gets a chance to run it. Passing more tonight, and there that inside screen once again to Durden, and Durden goes to the outside and gets up and give him 9 yards on that play. And I think that's one when he looks back at it, he's going to see that had he not gone to his right and cut more to the left when he turned around, he had a lot more green to go. That almost had a chance to go the distance, but give Durden 9 yards, keep those chains moving, and he's been a good receiver so far tonight with 30 yards receiving. If you remember in the first half, he had that circus catch with the ball behind him, able to hit it with one hand, tip it back to himself, and get the first down. Mims goes straight up the middle once again, and once again Elba really playing that well. Had not played it very well in the first half, and able to stop Mims once again. So Providence may not want to play that, go with that play once again.
To about the 49-yard line, picks up an Eagle first down.
So despite giving him 0 yards, they did give him 1 yard on that, and gave it a first down. And for those of you watching at home, I can't tell you how much from here that the ball will move anywhere from 1 to 2 yards, given the officials at times. And so sometimes it's hard to keep up, and it doesn't make us look like we know what we're doing, but it is a challenge. So this was a play right here where a lot of guys on Providence felt pretty comfortable to go on 1, and the snap count must have been on 2. And so a drive started with a good first down there, is now going to start behind the chains with a 5-yard penalty. And in the first half, Providence had a good drive all the way deep down into Elba territory, looking at about a 2nd down and 5. Had a false start that got it back to 2nd and 10, and were not able to overcome that. We'll see if they're able to overcome this one. Mims going to go straight up the middle again, and once again Elba is played that play very well. So Providence has tried that 4 times here in the second half, and it's been a -2 yards, 0, 1, and 0. So Providence not finding much success in the middle, although they did find some success earlier in this drive with a middle screen. So we'll see if they're able to dial that one back up.
Previous play, gain of 1, brings up 2nd down and 14.
So Providence with 4 wide receivers, and as we've noted all night, not really known for their passing, but showing a lot more of that tonight. This is going to be a straight drop back by Mims. Once again, going to be a middle screen to Durden. He makes a great move and just kind of hesitated a little bit. He needs to turn and go up the field, and was able to get about 6 yards on that play. And it looks like there's a flag. It seemed like there might have been a lineman downfield. We'll have to see if that's what the call is.
Penalty marker on the play.
Yeah, it was an ineligible man downfield. I noticed when Durden caught the pass, it was an excellent play, but there was an offensive lineman that was actually in front of him, and sometimes they'll give you 1 or 2 yard leeway there, but when you catch the ball 6 yards down the field and there's a guy in front of you and it's a lineman, they're usually not going to allow that. Now, with that said, when you watch this and you watch your favorite college game, a lot of times that happens, and 9 times out of 10 it's going to happen to the team that you're playing, not you. They get away with it, you don't. So I'm not quite sure what the officials are discussing here. It's a pretty cut and dried that it would actually be from the line of scrimmage, I believe. So actually, Elba, interesting, Elba is going to elect to not make it 2nd down and 25, instead make it 3rd down and 7. So we'll see if this is a decision that comes back to haunt them here. So a break for Providence. They get an excellent play to get it down to 3rd and 7. I'm going to go straight drop back once again. Mims over the middle, has a guy open, and goes right into the hands of Odom, and he's not able to bring it in. And Connor Odom, a couple of times now he's had the ball, and one time it was high, this time went right into his body. And I think the first thing that Coach will tell you, catch that with your hands, don't let it get into your body. And took a 3rd down and a sure 1st down to a 4th down and 7. Providence coming out in what has typically been a running set. Christian Durden set to the left side. 4th down and 7. It is a pass under pressure. Mims able to look forward and thought he had some green and really trying to fight his way. He's going to come up 3 yards short. I think that was one of the plays where Mims not able to really throw the ball the way that he wanted to. He saw green grass but just couldn't quite get it. So Providence going to have to turn the ball over on downs, and a drive that once again looked good until they had a penalty. So for the 2nd time tonight, not able to overcome a penalty and turn the ball over, giving Elba good field position at the 44-yard line with already a 2-touchdown lead. So Elba had 185 yards unofficially in the first half, only 26 plays there in the first half. They have scored once in the second half here, and Coleman, who had that touchdown, doing it once again in the middle. Really tough to come down, and they're going to give him 9 yards on that play. He was kept in check through most of the first half. He had a couple of big runs, and they had that 53-yard run on that direct snap there in the second possession in this quarter to give the 20-6 Elba lead.
Brings up 2nd down and 1 for the
Providence defense has done a good job not really letting the offensive line exert itself except for those 2 big plays, and really going to look back at those 2 big plays and see how much of an impact they had on the game. There's Coleman straight up the middle and breaks a tackle. Looked like he was going to be dropped for maybe a 1 yard. Give him 5 yards on that play, and Elba able to get the first down, keep the chains moving, keep the clock moving. It's been a fast-moving game here. 2.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. On a typical Friday night, we might be going to halftime right now, but all this running and all this ball control has kept the clock running. Last week, Elba was able to rush for 421 yards against Cottonwood, and doing a lot of it on the ground again tonight. Direct snap, and this time it's Henderson just kind of going straight over the center and just going 4 yards. And, you know, as a fan, you might be watching this and thinking to yourself, why do they keep doing that? It's just 3 yards, 4 yards. We saw what happened with Coleman when he got loose for 53 yards. But more than anything, it keeps the clock running, keeps the ball out of Providence's hands. And Providence has had opportunities and just not been able to capitalize on those.
Pick up 3 yards on the previous play. It'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Tigers.
So a 2nd down and 7.
At the Providence 39.
Henderson in the backfield, number 6, most likely getting the snap here. Now it's going to go to Johnson. He's just going to pass it over, and the play defense pretty well, but Peyton McCart able to just kind of pick his way through. It's going to be right there at the chains.
On the far sidelines to number 1, Peyton McCart.
Let's see if they make it 2nd down.
Stop the Eagles,
yeah, so it's going to be 3rd down and 1. So give him just about 4 yards on on that play. And Johnson had 40 yards passing in the first half, and all of that going to McCart, who had 40 yards receiving. So Elba not really having to go to the pass too much. We were really surprised in the second quarter when they got the ball back with 1:46 to go. They didn't try to pass it and try to see if they could score, and ended up having to punt the only time they punted tonight. Direct snap once again, and that looks like it's Coleman. He is stacked up after give him about 2 yards on that play. Clock now going under 1 minute to go here in the third quarter. Elba controlling the ball, controlling the game.
Number 6
will have to run at least one more play.
He's down to about the 30-yard line.
That was Henderson on that run and had his helmet knocked off, and so he has to come back out. And Coleman comes back in his place. Clock running down under 20 seconds to go, but they will have to snap it.
2 yards on the play. Brings up second down and 8 for the Tigers.
And that's the ball right straight back to Coleman. He just goes straight up the middle, what they've been doing all night, and it's just an easy 3 yards there, 8 yards there, and gets the first down. Once they set the chains, they'll wind the clock, and we'll be done with the third quarter.
Number 8, Coleman with a carry up the middle. Picks up a Tiger first down.
That is the end of the third quarter. Each team with a number of possessions, and Providence turning the ball over right away to start the second half. Actually was able to hold Elba, but then Elba had that electrifying 53-yard run, the only score of the second half so far. They go into the fourth quarter leading 20-6. We'll have that fourth quarter for you coming up. You're watching the Scenic Cable Sports Network.
Your number one source for high school sports. You're watching the Scenic Sports Network.
Lewis Smith Supply is dedicated to offering a vast collection of fixtures, faucets, and accessories for your kitchen and bath. Make your dreams a reality. Step into the area's only Kohler Premier Showroom or see Delta's Brizo collection for the latest trends in kitchen and bathroom designs. Lewis Smith Supply offers an extensive line of plumbing supplies for contractors or do-it-yourselfers. For more inspiration, come visit one of our showrooms in Dothan or Enterprise.
The start of the fourth quarter here at Providence Christian High School. Elba leading 20-6. I'm Mike Bridges on the call with you tonight.
10 yards to go. Ball to be put in play.
Elba driving,
21 yards.
leading by 2 touchdowns. Going to go with an inside handoff. This worked for the tune of 65 yards the first time that they ran it. Providence doing a much better job on this one. And Byron Burks only able to just get just about 7 yards there. And so his one-play 65-yard average has really dropped dramatically.
And on the stop of the Eagles, number 6.
But really, when you think about it, his 65-yard run there in the first half was the difference in the game, and Providence not able to overcome after that. And really, the Providence defense has not played bad, considering how well Elba's offense has played this year, but giving up a 65-yard touchdown and a 53-yard touchdown, the difference in this one. Johnson, as we said, a pretty good runner, not able to really get free tonight. Give him just a couple of yards there. He had 14 yards rushing in the first half, and some of the games this year he's had big chunk runs. Providence able to keep him in check. So 3rd down and 3, deep in Providence territory at the 19-yard line. Elba controlling the clock, getting this ball with a couple of minutes to go in the third quarter, so holding the ball upwards of 4 minutes so far.
3rd down and 4 yards to go. Ball resting just inside the Eagle 15-yard line.
And that's a snap there to Coleman. He's just going to pick his way. It looks like he's going to go in for the touchdown. Providence, middle of the defense, not there on that play. Give a 18-yard touchdown there for Coleman. He's had a big second half, and the Tigers extending the lead now to 26-6. Coleman held in check pretty decently in the first half. He had a couple of big runs, 10 and 13 and 12. So he had 50 yards at halftime, but he's got 94 in the second half, looking at a 144-yard night so far.
Tigers lining up.
Weiskup in for the extra point. The last time the snap was high. This time the snap right on, and Weiskup gets it through, and it's a 27-6 lead with 10:32 to go. And once again, Providence High School, which had trouble this year offensively in its 3 losses, not scoring a touchdown, had a touchdown on the first possession tonight, has moved the ball quite well, and just had a couple of turnovers and not able to make a play when they need to. Passed it more tonight than they have in the past, but not able to really get a passing game that's putting a lot of pressure on the defense. Middle screens to Christian Durden have worked well. He's got nearly 50 yards receiving, and Mims throwing for almost 60 yards. This good considering they threw for 1 yard last time out against Slocum. And I think this will be one of those games that Coach will look at the film and he'll see that they had opportunities. He'll see that had they executed just a little bit better here or there, it was a much better offensive team tonight than we've seen in any game except for Northside. And Northside not known for its defense, so that's not really a good game to be able to look at your offense and say, okay, we're back on track. Not able to score an offensive touchdown against Wicksburg, Rehoboth, and Slocum. Tonight, driving the ball, and tonight they'll have over 200 yards, and if they can put a couple of drives together, maybe 300 yards. And so offense getting much more back on track, just not quite seeing the results yet. Weiskup with the kick, and it's going to go back, and Grant Baker's going to take it for the second time. Got a little bit of a alley to the outside, makes a little bit of a move, still on his feet, pinballing around up to about the 42-yard line. So give Grant Baker credit. He's had his last 2 opportunities. He's able to give Providence good field position, and trailing 27-6. This is a drive that Providence really needs to take it down and score and see if they can turn it over to defense and put some pressure on Elba.
42-yard line.
Christian Durden comes off just a little bit ginger here, and so we'll take a look at the backfield and have a new quarterback in there. Craig Pittman playing quarterback. He gives it on the inside handoff, just about 3 yards there to Rylan Banner. Banner had the touchdown run earlier in the first half, a 28-yard run, and give him 2 there. I did see Harrison Mims come off the field defensively late in the third quarter, and he's got some ice on his neck and down on the sideline. Not sure he's going to come back in the game, so we'll most likely see Craig Pittman for the rest of this game. The size of Elba offensively really puts pressure on a defense, and Harrison Mims gives it his all, and looks like he may be done for the night. So there's a little pitch out to Banner once again, and playing off the block fairly well was Patrick Wickshahi. He was able to throw Banner there for a loss of about 3 yards. So it looks like we have another Providence player that is down. He's being attended to. There's 9:28 to go. We'll take the timeout as they take a look at him. You're watching the Scenic Cable Sports Network. Okay, following the timeout for the injured player, it was Jonathan Wells. He was able to walk off on his own power. We have a third down here, and Providence goes with a trick play. It works. An excellent catch there by Ebb Anderson. He's able to get it off the halfback pass from Christian Durden. Durden had come out and had limped out a little bit. He came in. He showed a great arm there, and so give him about 16 yards, 18 yards there on that pass play, and have to figure out how to put that in the stats there. But an excellent catch there by Ebb Anderson, and I would venture to say that that was probably his first career catch, or pretty close. So Providence keeps the drive alive. Durden gets the ball and just goes straight to the ground there and slip. That's a couple times we've seen him slip tonight. It's a beautiful night, and started at about 73 degrees and a perfect night for football. And as time has gone on, we're now into the 60s, and so you could have a little bit of moisture out there on the field. Durden coming off here, and second down and 11. He lost 1 yard on that play. Craig Pittman in at quarterback. He's got Banner in the backfield with him. It's a low snap, and Pittman's got a lot of space here, and there was a penalty. The way the penalty came out was kind of strange, so that would have been no gain on that play, but we'll check. Could be a face mask. Let's see what they call here. It is a face mask on Elba. Last time it was a face mask, it was 5 yards. Looks like it's another 5 yard. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know all the rules of high school football, but I've never heard of a 5 yard face mask penalty. College and pro, everything is 15 yards. But that's 5 yards, but Providence will take it. They go from second down and 12 to second down and 7.
The Elba 37-yard line, where it'll be second.
Last time they were helped out by a penalty was when they scored, and Banner was able to take it 28 yards. Let's see what happens here. It's going to be a pass. Anderson's going to go up, kind of slings it sidearm, and kind of an interesting throwing motion there, and able to get it out there, but just a little bit outside of Zach Gamble's hands. And Gamble's had a few opportunities tonight, but most of the passes have not been right on him, and he's had to kind of lay out and try to get them. So third down and 7. Providence with a lot of backups in right now, various reasons. But the biggest thing is getting these guys experience. It's a young team, as we've talked about all season long. Only 2 seniors, and a lot of guys getting their first high school experience. And this is a team that'll be much better in a little bit. So they go with the same play that they scored the touchdown on. This time giving it to Grant Baker. He didn't quite have the angle. It looks like he fumbled at the end, and Elba picked it up. But it is a long run, and so let's figure out how long that run was. 30 yards at least. They're going to
the 10-yard line. It'll be first down and goal to go.
So they're going to mark it at the 6. So let's unofficially give him 32 yards on that carry. So Providence going once again with the handoff, then the back inside handoff. Grant Baker able to take it all the way down to the 6-yard line. That is a play that's worked twice tonight. Give them 60 yards on that play. So an averaging 30 yards per play. I'm doing this by myself. I'm trying to do the math as I talk. It's not so easy. So Durden tries it again the other way, and it's a tough snap, giving it to Durden. Then it's a tough snap on the inside as well. And Providence, it worked twice to the left. It did not work on the third time to the right. And so once again, Providence with a promising drive, ending deep in Elba territory with a turnover. And the timing of that was really thrown off because of the low snap. Pittman able to get it to Durden, but he just didn't really have as much time to get it to Ryland Banner. So Banner, who scored on that touchdown on that play the first time, when they tried it to the right side, fumbled it, and now Elba gets the ball back at the 6-yard line. One of the things that has plagued Providence all year has been turnovers, interceptions. They've had a couple of interceptions returned for touchdowns. They've had an interception returned deep in their own territory. Tonight, it's been fumbling. Elba was able to take advantage of the second fumble. Let's see if they can take advantage of the third one here. An excellent play there by Providence, and that's Christian Durden down deep and able to get Coleman and keep him with just a 1-yard run.
On the stop for the Eagles, number 5, Durden.
And as we said, Coleman having a really big second half. He now has 95 yards in the second half to go with 50 in the first, so coming up on a 150-yard night. And what Elba really wants to do at this time with under 7 minutes to go with a 3-touchdown lead is just really try to control the ball, maybe get a couple of first downs. but not turn the ball over and keep a lot of positivity going heading into the rest of their schedule.
Second down and 10.
There's going to be a timeout on the field. 27-6, Elba leading with 7 minutes to go in the game. We'll come back for the rest of the action here at Providence Christian High School. You're watching the Scenic Cable Sports Network.
Your number one source for high school sports. You're watching the Scenic Sports Network.
6:49 remaining in the game here at Providence Christian High School. Mike Bridges here on the call with you. Elba leading 27-6. They have the ball. Direct snap to Henderson, and he takes it up and give him about 5 yards on that play. Henderson with just 16 yards in the first half. As we said, he had a lot of smaller runs, and then he'd be thrown for a loss a few times. Same thing going here in the second half. Has just 11 yards in the second half. Of course, Coleman getting most of the work, as we said, coming up on 145 yards, so he's been the workhorse here in the second half. Third down, and you can either call it a long 3 or a 4. It's been a while since we've seen Johnson handle the ball at quarterback. He's not going to handle it on this one as well. And it looks like Henderson taking a couple of guys for a ride. He gets a big run there, give him just about 15 yards on that play. Most importantly for Elba, that gives them a first down. And the clock running now under 6 minutes to go with a 3-touchdown lead. Elba just going to be content to run the plays and run the clock.
The Eagles, number 6, Gamble, and number 24, Reed Ferris. Tigers have the first down and 10 yards to go. Ball to be put in play from their own 27-yard line.
So 1st and 10 from the 27. Direct snap once again. Big hole for Coleman. He's able to get it just about 6 yards, and so right now it is Elba just getting big chunks of yards, and Providence has some second teamers in there getting some opportunity to play and understand what game speed is. Let's give Henderson the run there.
Number 6 Gamble and number 51 McGee.
So Zach Gamble got the stop there, and
a long 3 short.
Charlie McGee, two guys that you don't hear a lot of defensively, so you're seeing some younger guys in there defensively. Just need to get some experience, and next year and the year after, Providence has a chance to be very good because they have a lot of young guys getting experience. This is Coleman going up, and he's going to get the first down there and give him just about 5 yards, and he now has about 150 yards. That's unofficial. And really the difference in this second half was his 53-yard touchdown run.
51, Charlie McGee. Tigers have it, first down and 10 yards to go. Ball will be put in play.
Keep the clock running, about 4.5 minutes now left in the game. And it's an interesting offense that Elba runs. They have really three excellent running backs and a good running quarterback. And Braden Johnson, the quarterback, has barely handled the ball here in the second half. There's kind of an inside handoff to Burks once again. He tries to get to the corner, and there is a flag on the play. Looks like that we're going to have a holding penalty on Elba, and one of those where the play didn't even end yet, and the official already calling the holding, and that was Gabe Pemberton for Providence being held and thrown to the ground. So that play's going to come back and tack 10 yards, and this game really not in doubt with 4 minutes to go, and Elba leading 27-6. At this point, Providence just trying to get some positive defensive plays, getting some guys some experience and understanding what game speed is like and the feel of a game, because you just never know when you're going to need somebody to step in at any point in a game when it's not in doubt, and you just can't beat game experience. Lots of sophomores playing. Once again, direct snap, and that is Henderson, and he's getting a little chunk of that, give him about 6 yards there, and going to bring up a third, is it second down? Second down and 15, first and 20.
5-yard line.
With officials timeout is Christian Durden hobbling off the field, and he gives it his all. He gives 100% every time he's out there, both offensively and defensively, and always in there around the ball on the defensive side, a big hitter. Clock continuing to run, coming up on 3 minutes. And here's Coleman going to take it around the right side, and Providence once again playing it well. It started out at 1st and 20, and it's going to end up here being 3rd down and 9. So give 6 yards there for Coleman. And as we said, passing the 150-yard mark tonight, and he's had a good game, and really the difference here in the second half is Providence was able to stop Elba after fumbling the opening possession of the second half, and it looked like it was promising at that point, 14-6, but Providence not able to capitalize, and then that's when Coleman ran 53 yards to really essentially put this game away at 20-6. They're able to add another touchdown to make it 27-6. So it's 3rd down and 10, clock running with 2.5 minutes to go.
At the Elba 39-yard line.
Once again, a direct snap. Providence plays it pretty well and able to get a number of guys on Coleman. He's able to make about 7 yards, and so it's just enough to see if Elba wants to punt the ball, if they want to go for it on 4th down. With the clock winding with 2 minutes, my guess is they would probably just want to go for it because the game's not really in doubt, and if Providence was able to get the ball back, the chances of them scoring 3 times in 2 minutes, minute and a half, is pretty slim. So Elba won't have to snap the ball again until there's about a minute and a half to go in the game. For Providence, I told you a couple of weeks ago that you really want to look at 3 games. This game, Opp and Houston Academy, all 3 of those are home games, and those were games that if Providence was going to get back into the playoff picture, they needed to win. The first one being Elba.
You want to go start off with power?
On that 4th down play there, Providence able to stop Elba, so they will get the ball back. The officials talking with each other, and as we say a lot on these broadcasts, when the officials get together and talk, nothing good happens. It looks like it's clearly going to be Providence ball, stopping them on 4th down. They do. Providence gets the ball with a minute and a half to go, and as we talked about, second team quarterback is in, running back, and so getting a little bit of experience in for some of these players. So many of them are sophomores and freshmen getting a chance to play here on the high school team. But Providence is back home next week against Opp. Opp has a high-flying offense, and one that can put a lot of points on the board, but one that was handled pretty easily by Elba. So we'll see how that is next week. So we try the double handoff again, this time to Grant Baker. Last time he got the ball, he was able to go 30 yards, almost got the touchdown. This time give him just a couple of yards, and Providence just going to play out the clock. So they have Opp next week, and then in 2 weeks, Houston Academy. And next week when they come in at 1-4 against an Opp team that is pretty good. They're a little bit up and down, but they are going to be another challenge. But I think Providence can look at the film of this game and see that they had opportunities, just didn't execute at certain times, and it is a team that is getting better each week. Defensively, didn't play bad, gave up a couple of big plays that were a little bit of a difference in this one, but the 3 turnovers really killed Providence. Anderson with a big play and able to get the ball, and this time Zach Gamble gets it. He's had 3 or 4 other opportunities, and he's had to really sky for the ball. This time, we give him about a 16-yard gain, knocked into the tray of water, but he'll take that reception any day of the week, and so he doesn't get a lot of opportunities. So that was a nice pass there by Craig Pittman, and in his career, that may be his first completion, if not his first, just a handful. So a lot of good experience here, and Craig Pittman, if you're keeping score at home, is just an 8th grader. So think about that. He's in 8th grade playing on the varsity team and going up against a pretty good 2A team. Didn't work out for him there. He gets sacked, and there's under 30 seconds to go, and at this point I doubt Providence runs another play. Elba's going to get out of here with a 27-6 win. They're going to move to 5-2, and as we said, this is a team to keep your eye on in 2A, as they'll have some opportunities once they get to the playoffs. It's a tough team to handle. Providence going to fall to 1-4, 2 more home games. There's still time to get into the playoffs, but they've really got to turn things around here. Look at the film and look at what they were able to do positively on offense and try to capitalize on that. Get the turnovers to where they're not turning it over. Twice tonight they turned it over deep in Elba territory. When you lose by 3 touchdowns, those 2 touchdowns would have come in handy, as well as turning it over on 4th down. So if you're a Providence fan, you're disappointed, but the team did play better offensively, and that is something that you can build on. And if you don't build on it as much for this year to make the playoffs, you're certainly building on it for the future, getting a lot of experience with these players. The final score tonight from Providence Christian High School in Dothan, 27-6. Elba with the win. We'll see you here next week as Opp comes to town, and we'll have it for you here on the Scenic Cable Sports Network. I'm Mike Bridges saying enjoy the rest of your weekend and enjoy the broadcast if you watch it other than Friday night. See you next week.
Your number one source for high school sports. You're watching the Scenic Sports Network.
Lewis Smith Supply is dedicated to offering a vast collection of fixtures, faucets, and accessories for your kitchen and bath. Make your dreams a reality. Step into the area's only Kohler Premier showroom or see Delta's Brizo collection for the latest trends in kitchen and bathroom designs. Lewis Smith Supply offers an extensive line of plumbing supplies for contractors or do-it-yourselfers. For more inspiration, come visit one of our showrooms in Dothan or Enterprise.